Hi everybody, welcome to another read along with the Chattering Magpie and the gang. Wow, it's the second read along of the year, and I am as excited to get to this read along because we're finally finishing volume 2 of the Count of Monte Cristo. So with me, of course, is the gang. I have muted them because they have not been behaving well. If we're late, it's because of them. Just kidding. We're late because I had some, everybody's human. I forgot to start up the software that gets everything started here, but we're ready. We're excited. We're going to read some Count of Monte Cristo. Okay, so I'm going to unmute myself and see what the gang has to say. Brace yourselves. Hopefully they're not snippy. All right, everybody. Hey, gang. Happy to see you all. You have been unmuted, of course.
It's not that we're late. She only muted us because we were giving a hard time for being late.
No,
right,
we were not giving her a hard time. We were making sure that she's even more late with every minute.
Yes. All right. You have all been equally punished. I feel sorry for the people that are they're really well behaved. So Ed has been well behaved. Little Butterfly was behaving.
It's playing a game.
Teal was behaving. Yeah. Like it was only Patrick and Yukihime.
No, hear me out. What people in the chat and on YouTube need to understand is if they really want to see what is keeping you here so long after the hour that you should be up, then they have to join your server, and they can do this by becoming a member on the main channel, the Chattering Magpie. That's how you know what we got here. Listen, guys, the more people come here, the later Magpie can be.
No. I mean, do join, but do not. What's that?
Does that mean that we're a bunch of crazy people?
Well, Yukihime had some truth, because the more of us there are in this channel pre-game, the more chaos there is, and the longer it takes for her to get on.
Okay, you know what, you guys, we're burning the minutes. Usually I give a little bit of banter time before we get into reading, 10 minutes, but we're just burning them with this nonsense. Fine. Welcome to the nonsense, you guys. Join us if you want. I put the link on the chat if you want to join me and this group of merry people. I promise that...
Yes, join us for the nonsense. We're 10 minutes late this time. Maybe we can be more late the next time.
Exactly.
Can I just say,
and with you, we can do it even more.
Can I just say, you guys, I hear you guys. I hear you guys. I know you guys want more nonsense, but can I just say, blessed are the good. Blessed is Teal. Look at her. She is silently working for the good of the server and this read along. Look at this.
Are you saying blessed are the peacemakers?
Yes, but I don't know if it's really peacemakers, because it's not their job to wrangle you guys. That's not their burden. It's just the good. And not the meek, because meek is kind of has a different connotation than what I want to say. Blessed be those that
inherit the read along.
Okay, the meek shall inherit.
I'm glad that Teal got what I was going for with the surround amount.
Well, in that case, blessed are the persecuted. I feel every day persecuted by you guys poking fun at me sometimes, so there I am.
Yes, you should be very blessed that we're here to persecute you.
Yeah, that's my only comfort, you guys. All right, you guys, so I just want to say hello to those that are joining us on YouTube steadily. They're hopping in. We have the first person on the chat is Fuji, or also known as Wisteria Petals in the Breeze, says, "May I pray for a blessing and appreciation of this serendipitous meeting ordained by Schlaftrum, the god of dreams, and Aishvilve, the god of jealousy?" And I say, yes, you may. Now, I have to read it because Fuji's not here. Says, "Oh, Schlaftrum, please let Magpie dream of a day." Yeah, dream of a day with no trouble. That will always just be a dream, I suppose. Oh, I think
that's a nightly dream, isn't it?
Yeah. "Please remove your blessing from everyone." Oh my. Okay. All right. Thank you for the blessing. I probably might need a little bit of a, translation, but I kind of get the gist. So peace in the server is a pipe dream. Thank you. Okay. All right. Who else is here? Thank you for the blessing. Who else is here? We had Yukihime. By the way, Yukihime's birthday is coming up. Shall we sing Yukihime a happy birthday together here? Shall we? Let's give her a dreadful happy birthday singing. Ready, everybody? And the tone of G. Now just go. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Yukihime. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
I hope that sounded terrible.
It's the most adorable thing in the world. Thank you, guys.
How does it feel to finally be 40, Yukihime, huh?
Oh my god.
Wait,
I
she's 40?
can't believe I'm 40. I didn't think I could imagine how much you can age in just 1 year here.
Oh, Patrick, you are such a precious thing. You're like, wait, she's 40? No,
willing to
Patrick,
do
she's like one of the youngest around here. She's like a fledgling. Come on.
I'm giving you guys.
I believed him for a second. I was like, what? She's that old?
No, if she were...
I thought she was a spring apple.
Yeah, she is.
I'm in my
spring apple, whatever
I'm
that
in
is.
my mid-20s, okay? Like, let's get the facts.
What a sweet
Too late.
age.
It's already in my head canon. You're old.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with being 40.
Yeah, nothing wrong, but just not me.
I may not be the oldest, but I am 40.
Well, whatever age you are going to be, may you have many blessings from above, and may all your dreams come true, or at least that you may walk towards all of those things. So, yay. Bravo.
Thank you guys so much. Love you.
Love you too, darling. All right. If you want the happy birthday singing, then also you can do so by joining here. Yay. Okay. Here's another thing. If you join and you tell me your birthday, I will sing a happy birthday for you and embarrass you live. How's that? How's that for something that will urge people to join us?
Works for me.
That's a detriment. But I don't know. All right, you guys. So let's see. Who else is in the chat? Oh, Teal is with us. Teal. By the way, Teal, you were singing something totally different. What were you doing in the background, Teal? Explain, please.
What was I doing in the background? I was making alien jokes.
Alien jokes. Huh.
What alien?
There was also a little bit of a recap, but mostly the alien thing.
Oh. By the way, you guys, we are watching the Count of Monte Cristo anime. Yes? Yes. There was an alien figure. By the way, Teal, we missed you at the watch party. There were a lot of stuff that we wanted.
You.
Yeah. There were a lot of stuff that we were like, oh my gosh, so many spoilers left and right. Glimpse of bodily anatomies, seductions, intrigues, spyings. Really good episode. So I'm actually really wondering how the original source material writes it so that the anime went about and did it. So we'll see. We had an alien there though. Yes, we did. I think it's Ali, right? The stand-in for Ali.
Ali looks very alien coded, yes.
All right. I think it's time though that we get started with the read-along though. But before that, Teal was kind enough to provide a summary. Teal, do you want to read it for us in your very own Yay-ish voice or Tealish
voice? It's not He-tier, I'm afraid. But... last time, the Count approached Danglars to be his bank with unlimited credit, courtesy of the reputation of Thompson and French. This caused Danglars to flounder. But along with the danger of unlimited credit to a banker comes opportunity, and Danglars was convinced to acquiesce. Danglars now takes the Count to visit the Misses, Hermine Danglars. Because when you're here, you're family.
Nice, bravo.
I get it.
Yeah.
Golly. You guys, there was also something else that I think it's important that we notice is that Dantes was like adamant he wanted to have Danglars' horses, so he went and had his servant pay an astronomical sum for his horses. So I believe that is gonna come around in this chapter, so just heads up.
These must be some awesome horses.
Yes, they are awesome horses, but they could never be as awesome as the ones in the anime. They're like bionic. They have like robot eyes. Ooh.
Right. The ones pulling the Batmobile.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So I'm glad you guys are here. Oh, look. Blue Tempest, that is Fuji, is here with us too. Today we're going to be reading chapter 47 and it ends volume 2. So yeah, we're making steady, though slow and steady progress through the book. And chapter 47 is titled The Dappled Grays. Reading today is going to be the following people. Narrator, of course, is going to be me. Danglars will be read by Teal. Hermine Danglars is going to be Yukihime. The Count is going to be read by Patrick. Hermine's servant, Little Purple Butterfly. Eloise de Villefort is going to be Teal. Edward is going to be Little Purple Butterfly. Lucien Debray is going to be Yukihime. And of course, many thanks to our highlighter MVPs, Yuki and Teal. Thank you guys for helping out with this endeavor. All right, you guys, ready? Ready to read? Even if you're not, we're gonna go.
Always ready.
All right. So, chapter is titled The Dappled Grays. The Baron, followed by the Count, traversed a long series of apartments, in which the prevailing characteristics were heavy magnificence and the gaudiness of ostentatious wealth, until he reached the boudoir of Madame Danglars, a small octagonal-shaped room, hung with pink satin, covered with white Indian muslin. The chairs were ancient workmanship and materials. Over the doors were painted sketches of shepherds and shepherdesses, after the style and manner of Boucher, and at each side pretty medallions in crayons, harmonizing well with the furnishings of this charming apartment, the only one throughout the great mansion in which any distinctive taste prevailed. The truth was, it had been entirely overlooked in the plan, arranged and followed out by Monsieur Danglars and his architect, who had been selected to aid the Baron in the great work of improvement, solely because he was the most fashionable and celebrated decorator of the day. The decorations of the boudoir had been left entirely to Madame Danglars and Lucien Debray. Monsieur Danglars, however, while possessing a great admiration for the antique, and it was understood during the time of the Directory, entertained the most sovereign contempt for the simple elegance of his wife's favorite sitting room, where, by the way, he was never permitted to intrude, unless, indeed, he excused his own appearance by ushering in some more agreeable visitor than himself. And even then he had rather the air and manner of a person who was himself introduced, than that of being the presenter of another, his reception being cordial or frigid, in proportion as the person who accompanied him chanced to please or displease the Baroness. Madame Danglars, who, although past the first bloom of youth, was still strikingly handsome, was now seated at the piano, a most elaborate piece of cabinet and inlaid work, while Lucien Debray, sitting before a small work table, was turning over the pages of an album. Lucien had found time, preparatory to the Count's arrival, to relate many particulars respecting him to the Madame Danglars. It will be remembered that Monte Cristo had made a lively impression on the minds of all the party assembled at the breakfast given by Albert de Morcerf, and although Debray was not in the habit of yielding to such feelings, he had never been able to shake off the powerful influence excited in his mind by the impressive look and manner of the Count. Consequently, the description given by Lucien to the Baroness bore the highly colored tinge of his own heated imagination. Already excited by the wonderful stories related of the Count by the Morcerf, it is no wonder that Madame Danglars easily listened to, and fully credited, all the additional circumstances detailed by Debray. This posing at the piano and all the additional circumstances This posing at the piano and over the album was only a little ruse adopted by way of precaution. A most gracious welcome and unusual smile were bestowed on Monsieur Danglars, the Count, in return for his gentlemanly bow, received a formal though graceful courtesy, while Lucien exchanged with the Count a sort of distant recognition, and with Danglars a free and easy nod.
Baroness, give me leave to present to you the Count of Monte Cristo, who has been most warmly recommended to me by my correspondents at Rome. I need but mention one fact to make all the ladies in Paris court his notice, and that is that he has come to take up his abode in Paris for a year, during which brief period he proposes to spend 6 millions of money. That means balls, dinners, and lawn parties without end, in all of which I trust the Count will remember us, as he may depend upon it we shall him, in our own humble entertainments.
In spite of the gross flattery and coarseness of this address, Madame Danglars could not forbear gazing with considerable interest on a man capable of expending 6 millions in 12 months, and who had selected Paris for the scene of his princely extravagance.
And when did you arrive here?
Yesterday morning, madam.
Coming, as usual, I presume, from the extreme end of the globe? Pardon me, at least such I have heard is your custom.
Nay, madam. This time I have merely come from Cadiz.
You have selected a most unfavorable moment for your first visit. Paris is a horrible place in summer. Balls, parties, and fêtes are over. The Italian opera is in London, the French opera everywhere except in Paris. As for the theatre, Francois, you know, of course, that is nowhere. The only amusements left us are the indifferent races, the Champ de Mars and the Sattery. Do you propose entering any horses at either of these races, Count?
I shall do whatever they do at Paris, madam. If I have the good fortune to find someone who will initiate me into the prevalent ideas of amusement.
Are you fond of horses, Count?
I have passed a considerable part of my life in the East, madam, and you are doubtless aware that the Orientals value only 2 things: the fine breeding of their horses and the beauty of their women.
Nay, Count, it would have been somewhat more gallant to have placed the ladies first.
You see, madam, how gently I spoke when I said I required a preceptor to guide me in all my sayings and doings here.
At this instant, the favorite attendant of Madame Danglars entered the boudoir. Approaching her mistress, she spoke some words in an undertone. Madame Danglars turned very pale, then exclaimed,
I cannot believe it! The thing is impossible!
I assure you, madam, it is as I have said.
Turning impatiently toward her husband, Madame Danglars demanded,
Is this true?
Is what true, madame?
What my maid tells me.
But what does she tell you?
That when my coachman was about to harness the horses to my carriage, he discovered that they had been removed removed from the stables without his knowledge. I desire to know what is the meaning of this.
Be kind enough, madame, to listen to me.
Oh, yes, I will listen, monsieur, for I am most curious to hear what explanation you will give. Those two gentlemen shall decide between us. But first, I will state the case to them. Gentlemen, among the 10 horses in the stables of Baron Danglars are 2 that belong exclusively to me. A pair of the handsomest and most spirited creatures to be found in Paris. But to you, at last, Monsieur Debray, I need not give a further description, because to you my beautiful pair of dappled greys were well known. Well, I had promised Madame de Villefort the loan of my carriage to drive tomorrow to the bar. But when my coachman goes to fetch the greys from the stables, they are gone, positively gone. No doubt, Monsieur Danglars has sacrificed them to the selfish consideration of gaining some thousands of paltry francs. Oh, what a detestable crew they are, these mercenary speculators.
Madame, the horses were not sufficiently quiet for you. They were scarcely 4 years old, and they made me extremely uneasy on your account.
Nonsense! You could not have entertained any alarm on the subject, because you are perfectly well aware that I have had for a month in my service the very best coachman in Paris. But perhaps you have disposed of the coachman as well as the horses.
My dear love, pray do not say any more about them, and I promise you another pair exactly like them in appearance, only more quiet and steady.
The Baroness shrugged her shoulders with an air of ineffable contempt, while her husband, affecting not to observe this unconjugal gesture, turned toward Monte Cristo and said,
Upon my word, Count, I am quite sorry not to have met you sooner. You are setting up an establishment, of course?
Why, yes.
I should have liked to have made you the offer of these horses. I have almost given them away, as it is, but, as I before said, I was anxious to get rid of them upon any terms. They were only fit for a young man.
I am much obliged by your kind intentions toward me. But this morning I purchased a very excellent pair of carriage horses, and I do not think they were dear. There they are. Corn, Monsieur Debray. Oh, come. Sorry. Come, Monsieur Debray. You are a connoisseur. I believe... I'm sorry, let me try that line again. Come, Monsieur Debray. You are a connoisseur, I believe. Let me have your opinion upon them.
As Debray walked toward the window, Danglars approached his wife.
I could not tell you before others the reason of my parting with the horses, but a most enormous price was offered me this morning for them. Some madman or fool, bent upon ruining himself as fast as he can, actually sent his steward to me to purchase them at any cost, and the fact is, I have gained 16,000 francs by the sale of them. Come, don't look so angry, and you shall have 4,000 francs of the money to do what you like with, and Eugenie shall have 2,000. There, what do you think now of the affair? Wasn't I right to part with the horses?
Madame Danglars surveyed her husband with a look of withering contempt.
Great heavens! What is it? I cannot be mistaken. There are your horses, the very animals we were speaking of, harnessed to the Count's carriage. My dappled greys?
Demanded the Baroness, springing to the window.
Yes, indeed they.
Danglars looked absolutely stupefied.
How very singular,
cried Monte Cristo with well-feigned astonishment.
I cannot believe it,
murmured the banker. Madame Danglars whispered a few words in the ear of Debray, who approached Monte Cristo, saying,
The Baroness wishes to know that you paid her husband for the horses. What you paid her husband for the horses?
I scarcely know. It was a little surprise prepared for me by my steward, and cost me, well, somewhere between 30,000 francs.
Debray conveyed the Count's reply to the Baroness. Poor Danglars looked so crestfallen and discomfited that Monte Cristo assumed a pitying air towards him.
See how very ungrateful women are. Your kind attention in providing for the safety of the Baroness by disposing of your horses does not seem to have made the least impression on her. But so it is. A woman will often, from mere willfulness, prefer that which is dangerous to which is safe. Therefore, in my opinion, my dear Baron, the best and easiest way is to leave them to their fancies, and to allow them to act as they please. And then, if any mischief follows, why, at least they have no one to blame but themselves.
Ugh, what a patronizing tone. Ugh. Okay, continue. Ugh. Blech.
I'm kind of liking this account.
Yeah, me too. I was like, he's a vanguard. He's on the ball.
Blech.
He's on the ball.
No. No. Continuing on. Danglars made no reply. He was occupied in anticipations of the coming... Sorry. I can't even say it. It's your fault, Patrick. Same word, too.
Hey, you can't blame me. Listen to the count. No one to blame but yourself.
Shush. All right. Danglars made no reply. He was occupied in anticipations of the coming scene between himself and the Baroness, whose frowning brow, like that of Olympic Jove, predicted a storm. Debray, who perceived the gathering clouds and felt no desire to witness the explosion of Madame Danglars' rage, suddenly recollected an appointment, which compelled him to take his leave, while Monte Cristo, unwilling by prolonging his stay to destroy the advantages he hoped to obtain, made a farewell bow and departed, leaving Danglars to endure the angry reproaches of his wife.
Excellent,
murmured Monte Cristo to himself as he came away.
All has gone according to my wishes. The domestic peace of this family is henceforth in my hands. Now then, to play another masterful stroke, by which I shall gain the heart of both husband and wife. Delightful! Still, amid all this, I have not yet been presented to Mademoiselle Eugénie Danglars, whose acquaintance I should have been glad to make, but I am here in Paris and have plenty of time before me. By and by will do for that.
With these reflections, he entered his carriage and returned home. 2 hours afterwards, Madame Danglars received a most flattering epistle from the Count, in which he entreated her to receive back her favorite dappled grace, protesting that he could not endure the idea of making his entry into the Parisian world of fashion, with the knowledge that his splendid equipage had been obtained at the price of a lovely woman's regrets. The horses were sent back, wearing the same harness she had seen on them in the morning. Only, by the Count's orders, in the center of each rosette that adorned either side of their heads had been fastened a large diamond. To Danglars, Monte Cristo also wrote, requesting him to excuse the whimsical gift of a capricious millionaire and to beg the Baroness pardon for the Eastern fashion adopted in the return of the horses. During the evening, Monte Cristo quitted Paris for Auteuil, accompanied by Ali, The following day, about 3 o'clock, a single blow struck on the gong summoned Ali to the presence of the Count.
Ali,
observed his master as the Nubian entered the chamber.
You have frequently explained to me how more than commonly skillful you are in throwing the lasso, have you not?
Ali drew himself up proudly, and then returned a sign of the affirmative.
I thought I did not mistake. With your lasso, you could stop an ox?
Again, Ali repeated his affirmative gesture.
Or a tiger?
Ali bowed his head in token of assent.
A lion, even?
Ali sprung forwards, imitating the action of one throwing the lasso, then of a strangled lion.
I understand. You wish to tell me you have hunted the lion?
Ali smiled with triumphant pride as he signified that he had indeed both chased and captured many lions.
But do you believe you could arrest the progress of two horses rushing forwards with ungovernable fury?
The Nubian smiled.
It is well. Then listen to me. Ere long, a carriage will dash past her, drawn by the pair of dappled gray horses you saw me with yesterday. Now, at the risk of your own life, you must manage to stop those horses before my door.
Ali descended to the street and marked a straight line on the pavement immediately at the entrance of the house, and then pointed out the line he had traced to the Count, who was watching him. The Count patted him gently on the shoulder, his usual mode of praising Ali, who, pleased and gratified with the commission assigned him, walked calmly toward a projecting stone forming the angle of the street and house, and seating himself thereon, began to smoke his chibouk, while Monte Cristo re-entered his dwelling, perfectly assured of the success of his plan. Still, as 5 o'clock approached, and the carriage was momentarily expected by the Count, the indication of more than common impatience and uneasiness might be observed in his manner. He stationed himself in a room commanding a view of the street, pacing the chamber with restless steps, stopping merely to listen from time to time for the sound of approaching wheels, then to cast an anxious glance on Ali. But the regularity with which the Nubian puffed forth the smoke of his chibouk proved that he at least was wholly absorbed in the enjoyment of his favorite occupation. Suddenly, a distant sound of rapidly advancing wheels was heard, and almost immediately a carriage appeared, drawn by a pair of wild, ungovernable horses, while the terrified coachman strove in vain to restrain their furious speed. In the vehicle was a young woman and a child of about 7 or 8, clasped in each other's arms. Terror seemed to have deprived them even of the power of uttering a cry. The carriage creaked and rattled as it flew over the rough stones, and the slightest obstacle under the wheels would have caused disaster. But it kept on in the middle of the road, and those who saw it pass uttered cries of terror. Ali suddenly cast aside his chibouk, drew the lasso from his pocket, threw it so carefully as to draw the forelegs of the rear horse in its triple fold, and suffered himself to be dragged on for a few steps by the violence of the shock, when the animal fell over on the pole, which snapped, and therefore prevented the other horse from pursuing its way. Gladly availing himself of this opportunity, the coachman leaped from his box. But Ali had promptly seized the nostrils of the second horse and held them in his iron grasp, till the beast, snorting with pain, sunk beside his companion. All this was achieved in much less time than is occupied in the recital. The brief space had, however, been sufficient for a man, followed by a number of servants, to rush from the house before which the accident had occurred, and, as the coachman opened the door of the carriage, to take from it a lady who was convulsively grasping the cushions with one hand, while with the other she pressed to her bosom the young boy, who had lost consciousness. Monte Cristo carried them both to the saloon and deposited them on a sofa.
Compose yourself, madam. All danger is over.
The woman looked up at these words, and with a glance far more expressive than any entreaties could have been, pointed to her child, who still continued insensible.
I understand the nature of your alarms, madam,
said the Count, carefully examining the child.
but I assure you, there is not the slightest occasion for unease. Your little charge has not received the least injury. His insensibility is merely effects of terror, and will soon pass.
Are you quite sure you do not say so to tranquilize my fears? See how deadly pale he is. My child, my darling Edward, speak to your mother. Open your dear eyes and look on me once again. Oh, sir, in pity send for a physician. My whole fortune shall not be thought too much for the recovery of my boy.
With a calm smile and a gentle wave of the hand, Monte Cristo signed to the distracted mother to lay aside her apprehensions. Then opening a casket that stood near, he drew forth a phial of Bohemian glass encrusted with gold, containing a liquid the color of blood, of which he let fall a single drop on the child's lips. Scarcely had it reached them ere the boy, though still pale as marble, opened his eyes and eagerly gazed around him. At this, the delight of the mother was almost frantic.
Where am I? And to whom am I indebted for so happy a termination to my late dreadful alarm?
Madame, you are under the roof of one who esteems himself most fortunate in having been able to save you from a further continuance of your sufferings.
My wretched curiosity has brought all this about. All Paris rung with the praises of Madame Danglars' beautiful horses, and I had the folly to desire to know whether they really merited the high praise given to them.
Is it possible?
Exclaimed the Count with well-feigned astonishment.
That these horses belong to the Baroness?
They do, indeed. May I inquire if you are acquainted with Madame Danglars?
I have that honor, and my happiness at your escape from the danger that threatened you with is redoubled by the consciousness I have been the unwilling and unintentional cause of at the peril you have incurred. I yesterday purchased these horses from the Baron, but as the Baroness evidently regretted parting with them, I ventured to send them back to her, with a request that she would gratify me by accepting them from my hands.
You are then, doubtless, the Count of Monte Cristo, of whom Hermine has talked to me so much?
You have rightly guessed it, madam.
And I am Madame Eloise de Villefort.
The Count bowed with the air of a person who hears a name for the first time.
How grateful will Monsieur de Villefort be for all your goodness! How thankfully will he acknowledge that to you alone he owes the existence of his wife and child! Most certainly. But for the prompt assistance of your intrepid servant, this dear child and myself must both have perished.
Indeed. I still shudder at the fearful danger you were placed in.
I trust you will allow me to recompense worthily the devotion of your man.
I beseech you, madam, not to spoil Ali, either by too great praise or rewards. I cannot allow him to acquire the habit of expecting to be recompensed for every trifling service he may render. Ali is my slave, and in saving your life, he was but discharging his duty for me.
Nay.
Interposed Madame Villefort, on whom the authoritative style adopted by the Count made a deep impression.
Nay, but consider that to preserve my life, he has risked his own.
His life, madam, belongs not to him, it is mine. in return for my having myself saved him from death.
Madame de Villefort made no further reply. Her mind was utterly absorbed in the contemplation of the person who, from the first instant she saw him, had made so powerful an impression on her. During the evident preoccupation of Madame de Villefort, Monte Cristo scrutinized the features and appearance of the boy she kept folded in her arms, lavishing on him the most tender endearments. The child was small for his age, and unnaturally pale. A mass of straight black hair, defying all attempts to train or curl it, fell over his projecting forehead, and hung down to his shoulders, giving increased vivacity to the eyes already sparkling with a youthful love of mischief and fondness for every forbidden enjoyment. His mouth was large, and the lips, which had not yet regained their color, were particularly thin. In fact, the deep and crafty look, giving a predominant expression to the child's face, belonged rather to a boy of 12 or 14 than to one so young. His first movement was to free himself by a violent push from the encircling arms of his mother, and to rush forward to the casket from whence the Count had taken the phial of elixir. Then, without asking permission of anyone, he proceeded, in all the wilfulness of a spoiled child, unaccustomed to restrain either whims or caprices, to pull the corks out of all the bottles.
Touch nothing, my little friend. Some of those liquids are not only dangerous to taste, but even to inhale.
Madame de Villefort became very pale, and seizing her son's arm, drew him anxiously toward her. But, once satisfied of his safety, she also cast a brief but expressive glance on the casket, which was not lost upon the Count. At this moment Ali entered. At sight of him, Madame de Villefort uttered an expression of pleasure, and holding the child still closer towards her, she said,
Edouard, dearest, do you see that good man? He has shown very great courage and resolution, for he exposed his own life to stop the horses that were running away with us, and would have certainly have dashed the carriage to pieces. Thank him then, my child, in your very best manner, for had he not come to our aid, neither you nor I would have been alive to speak our thanks.
The child stuck out his lips and turned away his head in a disdainful manner, saying,
He's too ugly.
"Oh, you guys, I just got an urgent text. Could I leave you guys? I'm gonna pause it right now. I just need to make a really quick phone
One of
call.
us to take up the narration?
No, because I wanna see what's happening. So yeah, just pause for now. I'm just gonna put some music or whatever. I'll be back in a sec. Okay?
Are you going to mute us so that we
I
can't
am.
talk to the chat?
I am.
Aw, but I was going to have some fun.
That's why exactly. I can mute you. Well, gosh, I don't have time for this. I'll be back in a sec.
I don't think we would be that bad even if we're not muted. That, like, what?
I wouldn't be that bad. I just like to talk.
Yeah, me too. I have too much talking in me. I have been told multiple times in my life that with me around, nobody needs a radio. So.
That is definitely something to say to someone.
I've heard it all my life. So like like I've heard all the.
sense.
She's free.
All right, everybody, I am back.
Welcome back. We didn't say too much wrong about you.
Okay, I am not even gonna ask. All right, let's continue. I'm sorry about that little interruption, but life happens sometimes. Okay, so we meet little Edward, little punk. He deserves a little, I don't know, spanking. But okay, let's move on.
Apparently, Ali is ugly.
Apparently. All right. Child stuck out his lips, turned out his head in a disdainful manner, saying, "He's too ugly." Oh my gosh, what a jerk.
I mean, when you're a child, is the only time when you can get away with just telling people to their face they're ugly.
Look, yeah.
Some people let their kids get away with too much.
Yeah. That's no. All right. The Count smiled as if the child bade fair to realize his hopes, while Madame de Villefort reprimanded her son with a gentleness and moderation very far from conveying the least idea of a fault having been committed.
This lady,
said the Count, speaking to Ali in the Arabic language,
is desirous that her son should thank you for saving both their lives. But the boy refuses, saying you are too ugly.
Ali turned his intelligent countenance towards the boy, on whom he gazed without any apparent emotion. But the spasmodic working of the nostrils showed to the practised eye of Monte Cristo that the Arab had been wounded to the heart.
"Will you permit me to inquire?"
said Madame de Villefort as she arose to take her leave.
"Whether you usually reside here?"
No, I do not. It is a small place I have purchased quite lately. My place of abode is number 30, Avenue des Champs-Élysées. But I see you have quite recovered from your fright, and are no doubt desirous of returning home. Anticipating your wishes, I have desired the same horses you came with to be put to one of my carriages, and Ali, he whom you think is so very ugly, will have the honor of driving you home, while your coachman remains here to attend to the necessary repairs of your calash. As soon as the important business is concluded, I will have a pair of my own horses harnessed to convey it direct to Madame Danglars.
"I dare not return with those dreadful horses."
You will see that they will be different as possible in the... I'm sorry, I think I misread that. You will see that they will be as different as possible in the hands of Ali. With him, they will be gentle and docile as lambs.
Ali had indeed given proof of this, for approaching the animals, who had been got upon their legs with considerable difficulty, he rubbed their foreheads and nostrils with a sponge soaked in aromatic vinegar, and wiped off the sweat and foam that covered their mouths. Then, commencing a loud whistling noise, he rubbed them well all over their bodies for several minutes. Then, undisturbed by the noisy crowd collected around the broken carriage, Ali quietly harnessed the pacified animals to the Count's chariot, took the reins in his hands, and mounted the box, when, to the utter astonishment of those who had witnessed the ungovernable spirit and maddened speed of the same horses, he was actually compelled to apply his whip in no very gentle manner before he could induce them to start. And even all that could be obtained from the celebrated dappled greys, now changed into a couple of dull, sluggish, stupid brutes, was a slow pottering pace, kept up with so much difficulty that Madame de Villefort was more than 2 hours returning to her residence in the Faubourg Saint-Honoré. Scarcely had the first congratulations upon her marvelous escape had gone through, when she wrote the following letter to Madame Danglars.
"Dear Hermine, I have just had a wonderful escape from the most imminent danger, and I owe my safety to the very Count of Monte Cristo we were talking about yesterday. but whom I little expected to see today. I remember how unmercifully I laughed at what I considered your eulogistic and exaggerated praises of him. But I have now ample cause to admit that your enthusiastic description of this wonderful man fell far short of his merits. Your horses got as far as Ranelagh, when they darted forward like mad things, and galloped away at so fearful a rate that there seemed no other prospect for myself and my poor Edward but that of being dashed to pieces against the first object that impeded their progress. When a strange-looking man, an Arab, a Negro, or a Nubian, at least a black of some nation or other, at a signal from the Count, whose domestic he is, suddenly seized and stopped the infuriated animals, even at the risk of being trampled to death himself. And certainly he must have had a most wonderful escape. The Count then hastened to us and took us into his house, where he speedily recalled my poor Edward to life. He sent us home in his own carriage. Yours will be returned to you tomorrow. You will find your horses in bad condition from the results of this accident. They seem thoroughly stupefied, as if sulky and vexed at having been conquered by man. The Count, however, has commissioned me to assure you that 2 or 3 days' rest, with plenty of barley for their sole food during that time, will bring them back to as fine, that is, as terrifying a condition as they were in yesterday. Adieu. I cannot return you many thanks for the drive of yesterday, but, after all, I ought not to blame you for the misconduct of your horses, more especially as it procured me the pleasure of an introduction to the Count of Monte Cristo. And certainly that illustrious personage, apart from the millions he is said to be so very anxious to dispose of, seemed to me one of those curiously interesting problems I, for one, delight in solving at any risk, even if it were to necessitate another drive to the bois behind your horses. Edouard endured the accident with miraculous courage. He did not utter a single cry, but fell lifeless into my arms, nor did a tear fall from his eyes after it was over. I doubt not you will consider these praises the result of blind maternal affection, but there is a soul of iron in that delicate, fragile body. Valentine sends many affectionate remembrances to your dear Eugenie. I embrace you with all my heart. Eloise de Villefort. P.S. Do pray contrive some means for me to come to meet the Count of Monte Cristo at your house. I must and will see him again. I have just made Monsieur de Villefort promise to call on him, and I hope the visit will be returned.
That night, the adventure at Teal was talked of everywhere. Albert related it to his mother, Chateau recounted it at the Jockey Club, and Debray detailed it at length in the salons of the minister. Even Beauchamp accorded 20 lines in his journal to the relation of the Count's courage and gallantry, thereby celebrating him as the greatest hero of the day in the eyes of all the feminine members of the aristocracy. Vast was the crowd of visitors and inquiring friends who left their names at the residence of Madame de Villefort, with the design of renewing their visit at the right moment, of hearing from her lips all the interesting circumstances of this most romantic adventure. As for Monsieur de Villefort, he fulfilled the predictions of Eloise to the letter, donned his dress suit, drew on a pair of white gloves, ordered the servants to attend to the carriage dressed in their full livery, and drove that same night to number 30 in the Avenue des Champs-Élysées. End of chapter. End of volume 2.
It seems our dear Count, despite his opinions about the fair folk, he's quite popular with them.
Yeah, I suppose so. I love the fact that everybody's like, oh, his heroics. He is so dashing, so wow. And it was
Ali.
It was Ali. Poor Ali. Aww. Justice for Ali.
Yes, justice for Ali. But I loved the interaction between the Count and Ali. It was so cute. And you can even catch a lion. Yes, of course. Like he mimed catching
a lion, yes.
Yeah, and like he went out and drew a line and like this here is where the horses are gonna stop. All right,
Yeah, I would like some background information about how he was able to predict that they would go that way, and how they timed it so the horses went crazy in the first place. My headcanon, I don't know how this will be if this is resolved or not. Because these aren't robotic
Don't ask questions.
horses.
Just consume product and get excited for next product.
No. Then what's the fun in that? I think that somebody had a little urchin in the street did something to them as they passed. I don't know. Or they breathed in some kind of drug, or they were drugged and the drug took effect at some point. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I always assumed it was a slow-acting drug that he gave them while he owned them, and then returned them, knowing this would happen.
Don't
A special kind of radish.
That now they besides the harness that they had originally, they also had a diamond each attached to them to their harness, and I don't know if it was playing the light or something, close to their eyes. I feel like that's, or the drug on the diamond.
Could be.
Yeah. Or maybe the diamond brooches had pins that had the slow acting drug or something in their system.
I also assume he grabbed these apartments that are on the most expedient route between the Villefort's house and where they were going in the Bois.
It just happened also that was the house that Villefort did all his evil deeds before.
And then to counteract whatever drug that he put in whatever device that he used to administer it, the aromatic vinegar that Ali rubbed them down with tranquilized them again.
Yeah, tranquilized them to such an extent that they were super slow and super groggy. I took them 2 hours to get back home.
Or maybe they have a IT guy and he just hacked the horses, That's probably what's gonna happen in the anime.
Wrong version. Wrong version. But yeah, I mean, in the anime, there was something wrong with the horses. You could see it in the eye. They got triggered by some strange command and they went crazy. But yeah, this is a little bit before that time. Unfortunately, the technology doesn't quite work out. So he has to, resort to other things like poisons. So yeah, poisons, very interesting that they noted that he had a little casket of things that probably are medicinal, probably are poison. All poisons to some extent are medicinal and all medicines to some extent are poisons. So who was very curious besides the child? Who else was looked upon this casket as very curious? And what do you think about that?
He's a vampire. Of course he's got a casket. And he keeps valuables inside his casket.
Yes, of course. That's where he sleeps.
Yeah, but that's not that kind of casket. So
What
Eloise,
other kind of casket does it exist?
Eloise de Villefort, her attention was drawn by all of the, all the little things. Maybe she herself is an apothecary of sorts, or maybe she's curious about dabbling in the arts of apothecary arts.
Yep.
Maybe
she read too much Apothecary Diaries.
Or she's delving into the occult.
Ooh, oh my. Oh my. Well, you know what? She married Villefort, so she could be anything. She could not be bad enough for us. Yeah, I don't think she's a very good mother either. Her mothering leaves a lot to be, she could, the child of Satan. So we got a whole bunch of bad kids in this book. First we got Benedetto. Now we got Edward. Jeez. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully we don't hear about him doing crimes, horrible crimes like Benedetto. But at this rate, who knows? Who knows? All right.
We're gonna see.
Sorry. Anything else you wanted to say? I'm sorry. I think you wanted to say something earlier.
No, I just said we're gonna see about the crimes of Edward, the little boy.
Okay, so it's not the last time we're gonna see him.
No, it's not.
So far, right now, at the end of this volume, we have Edmund having, successfully made his, splash, his debut upon Parisian society. Everybody now knows about him from the papers or from word of mouth as to like him being like, ooh, this intrepid person, and everybody wants to know about him. So that's how this volume ends, but not without saying that the next thing we have to look forward to is the meeting between Villefort and Edmund. I am so excited for that, you guys. That's going to be in the next read along, and we are going to read that on Friday. So I hope you guys join us for that. Anything else about this one you wanna talk about?
Not
It's pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good volume.
That's a good volume, good chapter, good read. All right, lovelies. Thank you for reading today with me. Chapter 47 was read by the following folks. Narrator was, of course, Magpie, me. Danglars was read by Teal. Hermine Danglars was Yukihime. The Count was read by Patrick. Hermine's servant was Little Purple Butterfly. Eloise de Villefort was read by Teal. Edward was read by Little Purple Butterfly. Lucien Debray, Yukihime. Highlighter MVP was Yuki and Teal. And a big thank you to Teal, who stepped in the role of assistant and cat herder. In lieu of Yay, where are you? We miss you. Hope that you can join us next week. But thank you to all of you who joined, and I hope you come on Friday, or if not, join us on Sunday. We are watching the anime version of this, as well as other stuff that we're watching. We just started Hanakimi for this season, and I think I'm already choosing which one we're gonna watch besides that. But anyway,
I hope we're also going to watch Freerun. But if not, I'm definitely gonna watch it on my own.
Yeah, I'm not planning to watch it on a week to week. Like I said, I'm gonna watch it like a binge. So I'm gonna wait for the episodes to load up all and then just watch them. That's kind of how I enjoyed watching it last time. Anyway,
if you want to add another anime to like the Sunday watch, please inform us like a few hours earlier at least, so that we can like watch it. The episodes that they released already, released already.
Yeah, so I'm really right now enjoying Taman's? I don't know how to say it. B-side. It's really good. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's has kind of the same vibes almost, and the artwork reminds me a lot, and the animation reminds me a lot of what's that called? Biscuit Doll? My Dress Up Darling. Kind of the same, like crazy energy, beautiful artwork and animation. I'm thinking about doing that. What do you guys think? Well, there's a lot of good anime this season, so it's kind of gonna be tough to choose, but that's one that I'm really excited to watch week to week. So we'll see. All right, everybody. We will see you on Friday, if not Sunday. Thank you for joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. And remember, everybody, do not go out and ride somebody else's horses unless you have drug tested those horses, okay? Just saying. Horses can be dangerous animals. And please, for the love of Pete, if somebody saves your life, don't call them ugly. Like, honestly.
I remember.
I want to apologize. I thought he was calling the Count ugly, not Ali. Like My mistake for that. I was laughing at the Count being called ugly.
And remember, if your woman wants to do something that you know is dangerous, but you can't convince her otherwise, allow her to do it.
Blah,
so she
blah,
has
blah, blah, blah. Okay, replace woman with man. Honestly, you got. I was reading that. I was like, yeah, I think he messed up. I think all he has to do is replace man, like woman, put the word man in there, and that is a definition of man's pursuits and the general, whatever.
What? We are totally safe. We never do anything dangerous.
It was all just, what is it called? That psychological term, reflection? No, projection. It was all projection.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
if you want to know how to...
Butterfly?
What is it, butterfly?
Okay, and if you want to be able to lasso rampaging horses, lions, tigers, remember, drink your Dr. Pepper.
Whoa.
There we go.
There we go. We needed that requisite Dr. Pepper mention.
Yeah, and also applies. Okay, Patrick, if you want to say about your woman, I would say let the men kill themselves with their stupidity if they want to do that.
All right.
We're very good at that. We are very, very good at that.
All
And
right,
the
you
Count will
guys.
be right there to pick up your wives who he's already charmed.
Yes, definitely. We can count on the Count. Ooh. All right, everybody. All right, you guys. We're off. We'll take our nonsense elsewhere. Take care,
guys,
everybody.
Cross your toes that everything will be great next week.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good week. Say bye-bye, gang.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Adios.
Bye.
In case you didn't get that reference, Magpie, I meant to say cross my fingers earlier, and I ended up saying cross my toes. And now that's it.
Now
You
it's
guys
gonna
are
stay
so
like
silly.
this
I love you
forever.
all. Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
explaining. I was like, what is that all about, the toes? Is that like some
You're gonna be
arcade